Good day. Welcome. My name is Dawn. I'm a Yin Yoga instructor. For today's class, I'd like to focus on the hips, external rotation of the hips in particular. So all you'll need today is a yoga mat if you have one. If you do have blocks, grab one or two of those. You can use, hardcover books or like stacks of books or, anything else that you might have, just to get a little bit of height underneath the bolster that we're going to use. If you have a bolster, great. Or any kind of couch, cushions, pillows, something like that. Or a blanket would be useful, okay? So any kind of blanket. So if you want to gather up your supplies now, you can stop the video and go do that, and then come on back and we'll get going. Great. So the first posture is called butterfly. And we're going to start with reclined butterfly. So the way I like to do it is with two blocks, one a little higher than the other. So the first one, you're standing it on that narrow edge up. This is if you have blocks. And the other one just in front of it, just for support when we put the bolster on here. If you don't have blocks, you could just have your pillow on the mat. And if you don't even have a pillow, you can just lie on your back on your mat. So there's lots of things you can do here. This is just one way that I prefer to do it. So coming up to your bolsters, if you have one, just leaning into that. Take your time, coming back, bringing the soles of your feet together, and just letting your knees splay out. Staying here for a couple minutes. Again, if you're new to Yin, the main things, the three main principles, I guess you'd say, are that we come to our edge, so where we might feel something. So in this reclined butterfly, it's more comfy than anything. I like to do it prior to doing the seated folding forward butterfly, just to encourage a little more opening in the hips. It just wakes them up a little bit for me. So we come to our edge, a point where we're going to feel something, feel some resistance. The second one is time. We have to hold for time. So 3 to 5 minutes. This one we're actually going to hold for 2, and then we'll do the seated version, sitting up. And we hold for time because the fascia, the interconnective tissue, is more plastic than muscle and takes a bit more time, a bit more encouragement to find opening, to release. And the third principle is stillness. So when you find that place where you've come to your edge, and you know you're going to be able to hold it for a couple minutes or so, do your very best to remain still, particularly in the area that we're working. All right, so just see if you can sink into any support you may have, and if you're lying flat on your mat or on your floor, that's fine too. Allow yourself to sink into that. Just become heavy on the floor or on your support. Let that support hold you as opposed to you holding yourself on your support. So 2 more breaths here. Nice. Inhale deeply through the nose. And then maybe just open your mouth and release that. Close your mouth. One more time. Inhale through the nose. Get a nice big Buddha belly. And exhale. So coming up now. So just pushing the floor away from you with your hands. Up to seated. So allowing your feet to be a little bit in front of you. You got more of a diamond shape here. So this is easier to see it like this. So I've got more of a diamond shape as opposed to bringing my legs in, my feet into my body really close. So having them a little bit further away. You're going to inhale, find some space, find some length in that back body, and exhale to fold forward. So just folding to wherever you can till you find that first bus stop, that first place of resistance. And before we go any further, just breathing here, noticing if you can stay there and just allow yourself to find some comfort, to find some more space in the body, to release, maybe relax. Maybe once you've held this for a few breaths, you might be able to come a bit deeper. And doing that on the exhale. So inhale and exhale, folding forward. So we got flexion in the spine. We have this external rotation in the hips. And maybe you might even be feeling it in your inner thighs, all right? So wherever you're feeling it is where you're feeling it. If this is very difficult for you to do in the seated position like this, you can choose to maybe stay on your back or take that blanket if you have a blanket and just sitting up on the blanket, just on the edge of that blanket to allow yourself. So instead of maybe having that curve in the back, having that slouchy back, if this is something that happens to you, I know, it's quite common. I do it too. Just allowing yourself to roll off that blanket, just on the edge, getting a more neutral spine, and then maybe from there, seeing if you can fold forward. And from there, you also can just curl right down. Yeah. So staying with this one. We'll stay another minute here. Breathe. Send the breath where you need it. So send your breath to that body part or parts where you're feeling tension, where you're feeling like you're gripping or holding. And just notice if by sending the breath to those areas, maybe you can find some softness, maybe a little bit more depth. But anytime there's pain, please maybe don't go as deep, or maybe come right out of the posture altogether. The other thing I didn't mention, but if you do find that this is too much for your knees, you could take that blanket, you would need two of course, and put it under your thigh, so on each side. Just for some support. And blankets are good rather than blocks or anything harder, because with the blanket, there's some give. You can sink into it, and then maybe next time you don't put so much, and then maybe one time nothing. So one more breath here. Inhaling to come up. And exhale. So removing the support that you have, if you have it on your mat here, if you did use some. Blocks, bolsters, your blankets, anything that you had on there. And if you would like, of course, you can do the windshield wipers. A little bit of movement after staying in a posture for a few minutes does feel nice and gets the blood flowing. Don't move too fast and don't rub along your mat or anything. Just mindful, thoughtful movements. You're paying attention to what you're doing. Perfect. Okay, and you didn't have to do that. The other thing you could have done is just sat and felt the vibration in your body, feel the echo of the posture. And another thing that you could have done is also just lying on your back. So whatever feels good for you. Preparing yourself for your next posture. So this next posture is Swan and Sleeping Swan. So I prefer to start just from tabletop position. Okay, so you're also welcome to come up into some version of down dog. It doesn't have to be some perfectly aligned, just something up more, a little bit more upright to come into it. But like I said, I prefer it from just the tabletop position. So you're going to take your left leg, bring that left leg up behind or right beside that left hand, and then bring the right leg back, back, back. So stepping it back. You're here, bring it back as far as you can. There we go. And look back. Make sure your foot isn't sickled, isn't going one way or the other, but it's maybe lined up just nice and straight. Adjusting this front leg. So still an external rotation here in the front leg. Maybe even a bit of flexion in that hip when you come down to your Sleeping Swan. But now, instead of flexion in the spine, we have a bit of an extension. We're up nice and high. If this is a little bit challenging for you, you might take blocks. Just maybe even just pushing into the blocks, finding some extension in the back body. Oh yeah. Couple more breaths here. And then from here, bringing yourself into Sleeping Swan. So just bringing your hands forward. Now with the leg, you can keep your foot in close to your body or out at a 90 degree. Okay? So both are really, really good. I just feel it different depending on where I put this front leg. So for me, I do like it like this here in, but I prefer to keep it out at a 90 degree angle and then just kind of playing with it a bit and then folding over that leg. Once you're there, breathe. So how deep do you come? Can you come all the way down? Wonderful. Are you up here a bit? Great. So wherever you are, and again, maybe you've got a block. Maybe you've got 2 blocks. This is it for you today. No worries. Maybe even what might feel really super great, and I do love doing it this way, is keeping that foot in nice and close, grabbing a bolster or pillows, and laying on the pillow. Staying here for about another minute. So whether you've got props or not, just allowing yourself to find your breath. Notice where your breath is landing in your body. Notice where you're gripping. And see if you can use your breath to soften up and to release the grip, any tension in your body, more likely in the hips than anywhere else right now. You maybe feel it in other areas. One more breath. Inhale, come up. If your leg is out on 90 degrees, just bring it in a bit. Both hands down. Maybe this might be a nice time to come up to some version of a down dog. Pedal those feet out. Or if you prefer, you could just come down into a child's pose. Stay for 3 breaths wherever you are. Coming up, getting into the second side, in whichever way is comfortable for you. Bring the right knee forward now and stepping that left leg back. Again, making sure that your foot isn't sickled, turning one way or the other, that maybe you could keep it straight back. So you're in Swan pose, upright, a little extension in the back body here, extension in the spine. So we do this first before we come into the sleeping swan, just to see where we're at, just to notice how it feels in the body. If this hip is up really, really high, you could put a blanket under here. Just take your blanket, fold it to whatever height you need, find some comfort. Allow yourself to sink into that. Again, remember, if you're having, a little bit of challenge here, you could push into the blocks. And even if it feels okay without them, it's kind of nice. Just allow yourself to find that extension in the back body with pushing into that height, pushing into those blocks. All right. And then when you're ready, release all the way down, keeping that foot either in close or bringing it out to a 90 degree. Okay? Send the breath where you need it. Notice, where is the feeling? Where are you feeling resistance in the body? And with your breath and with this time of stillness, maybe you could find some more opening. A few more breaths here. Maybe bringing your awareness to the hips, to the glutes, maybe the front of the back leg. And asking yourself, where is there a difference from this side and from the first side? Does it feel the same? Does one side feel more open? Does one side feel less open? It's just noticing. It's information for you. It's your body. And just noticing how it is and where you might be holding tension in your body. Inhale to come up into either a down dog where you walk the dog, or maybe it feels good to come into child's pose. When you're ready, please come on down into Savasana. Several ways you can do this. Traditionally, just lying on your back. But if you have your blanket, you can use your blanket to cover it up. Another nice thing to do is to take pillows, a bolster, blankets, any kind of support under the knees or under the thighs. Laying down. and relax. And if you like, taking a blanket, covering yourself up. Notice the echo of the postures. Notice, how does your body feel now? So staying in your Savasana for as long as you can, as long as you would like to. Sometimes when we work the area of the hips, a lot of emotions might come up. I like to refer to our hips as the junk drawer of our body. Some of us store things in the hips. So whenever something bothers us or we get something that's aggravating or stressful for us, just pushing it down and holding it in the hips. So when we start to open them up and releasing that and just letting that go, it can feel a little bit emotional. 100% normal. Just take care of yourself. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you soon. Namaste.